Okay, awesome. So hey everyone, just a quick reminder on how these weekly trainings work. I know I put these in the email, but it's just good to remember these. So first and third Thursday of every month, I'm doing Go High Level basics and training on Go High Level. So that's the first and third Thursday of every month. The second Thursday of every month, I'm going to have a guest on, like a mortgage expert. So I'll go into that in just a second. And then the fourth week, I do marketing strategies. So last month we talked about like open house landing, single property landing pages, and the co-branded application links. So I really like that fourth week because then I'm showing you new things I've added into the CRM. This week, since it's the second week, we have a couple mortgage experts inside of here and a vendor that I'm going to have on. So Jeff is the co-founder of Stikkum. I do have Stikkum, and I'll let them explain this in a second, integrated in everybody's Go High Level. The cool thing is I don't make anything from Stikkum. So if you decide to work with Stikkum after this, you would just pay them directly, and then it would be already integrated into your CRM. John, how long have you been in the industry, John? I can't remember the years.
Bill and Monica were in the White House at the time I got started. So going back pre-Y2K, computers were going to crash. And I got credit reports, came out on a thing with these little like things you had to tear off the sides. So I've been doing this a really long time, close to 30 years. So it's been a while. I have a 4-digit NMLS. So like top that, 6399. But a really long time doing lots of things across a lot of different stuff. But I go back a ways.
Okay, thanks, John. So I'm going to have John on just talking about Stikkum and different marketing strategies he's doing. So this will be a really fun meeting. And then usually I have people ask questions along the way, but last time we were running late. So I'm going to let John and Jeff go, and then we'll open it up to questions, and then I'll kind of follow up after that. Does that sound good with everybody? And I'll hand it over to you, John. Okay, awesome. Let's get started. Ready whenever you are, John.
Awesome. So I do quite a few of these things. I'm going to share a screen. And we'll have some different stuff. And again, like Deven said, no questions. But for me, and I sat in on the call, so I'm a Hova user. We use it with my wife's company. So I'm like, I actually am in there. I understand how it works. Kind of very familiar with high level. But I go to Deven with questions on stuff I can't figure out. But in addition to that, I'm just going to share I've got some slides. Hopefully this is something that's entertaining. And that you walk away, and after sitting in on last week's call and hearing the questions, kind of pivoted. I didn't want this to be some kind of pitch fest. You guys get pitched enough. People are calling, right? Like, I didn't want it to be that. So I'm going to share some screens. Stop me at any time. I talk fast. Hopefully you can listen fast. And we're going to go about it like this. You see in my screen?
Yep.
Okay. I'm a old school guy, so I am let me just expand this back out so I can kind of see. Okay, I've got a good vision. So I run a company called the Mortgage Broker Builder. I'm going to fly through these things really fast. Deven kind of hit it in the intro, but I have been around here for a really long time. Like I said, a 4-digit NMLS. At one point in my career, every single banker license at Rocket Mortgage went through my name. Did a bunch of different stuff. Over the last few years, I helped about 2-3 dozen brokers get up and running. So I helped them from sitting at a desk in Loan Depot all the way to running their own shop. That was kind of what my business was. Have morphed into doing coaching, a whole bunch of other stuff. My guarantee, and I'm not even doing this in a PowerPoint, so I'm just going to show it this way. Here's my guarantee for you guys throughout this. Let me shut this off. We don't need to see all the suggestions, but my guarantee for you and my promise for you is this, is that at the end of this thing, you're going to walk away with 1, 2, 3 things that you can actually go out and apply to your business and do more. And my guarantee is, as a result of sitting here for the next 30, 45 minutes, you're not going to know less and you won't do less business. So I feel pretty confident I can make that guarantee. The first thing I want to show you, so I've been doing this a long time. I said about my coaching program right here, and I'll just show it to you really quickly. I run a whole coaching community where I post a ton of stuff. There's sales things. There's all kinds of stuff. I used to charge $100 a month for it. It's completely free for anybody that's in here, but I post a lot of stuff every single day. Bill Bodner's in there with market commentary, stuff that you can do to get business. So ton of stuff in there, going back to the PowerPoint. And for anybody that's sitting in here, anybody at Hova, you can use this totally 100% for free. If it sucks, you can always cancel, but I have virtually 0 people churn out of here. So there it is, free to you. We got Jeff, and Jeff and I did a podcast a little while ago. It's got a couple thousand views on YouTube. There's a link in here. We'll get it to you. But if you want to go check out like kind of a Stikkum presentation in more detail, we get in the weeds there. We talk about a lot of stuff. And like I said, I am not only a Hova user. We use Stikkum inside of our business. My wife owns a mortgage company, a brokerage. They call themselves the Mortgage Mom Squad. It's 5 ladies. They average between 7 and 10 closings per month. Direct all real estate business. Got a few thousand closed clients. It's a very nice little business that they run. So I like to think that they kick ass and do a really good job. And they were also Rocket Mortgage #1 woman-owned brokerage for 2025. So if that matters to anybody, they do well. And we use them over there, and all these integrations and stuff that we're going to talk about are inside of that business. But I kind of wanted to, and here she is, and this is what, so I sat through a call last week with Deven, kind of a 101, and we showed this, and Deven said, if you get time, I want to jump in there. This is a landing page that we've built inside of Hova that my wife uses with all of her realtor partners. And it looks like this. There's their logo, her logo. All the socials are linked up. We give them a FinLocker app. We give them a shared toolbox, a shared calculator, apply now links. So if we get through this, I want to talk about this because Deven asked me to bring it up because I think it encompasses things and kind of brings it full circle. Again, I'm bouncing fast. If anybody,
can I say something real quick on that?
Yeah, talk fast. If you got questions, you got to just blurt in. I roll.
So if you're on my marketing package, I do that for you for free. John will cover more, but it's part of one of the things. Not for free. Like if you're on my marketing package, it's included is what I should have said. So when John covers that, just know I set these up for you.
Yeah, and we are on the marketing package. So I just saw the emails that are going out for this week's agent update. One of our bankers went out, did a little recording on a nice little app. Like, I'm not going to sell your product for you here, Deven, but if you're not, it's well worth the money than trying to do and figure out all this stuff yourself. And that probably parlays into this next thing. So there is this formula called the larger market formula. And again, I said I want to just help you become better loan officers and do more. And this is a premise that essentially at any given time inside of any given market, you've got about 3% of the whole population that's kind of ready to buy right now. So if you go to a building that's got 100 renters in there, at any given time, 3% of them, yeah, they need a pre-approval right now. You got about 17% that are in an information gathering phase. 20% are aware that someday they might want to buy a house. And about 60% have no idea what the hell they're even doing. This is why when NAR does some study, 84% of people believe they need, 18% down to purchase a home because they're just completely clueless. And so the next thing that I want to just talk to all of us about, because I have this thing, the name of my company is CEO 1440. I kind of believe we're all the CEOs of our 1,440 minutes every day. And so how do you prioritize that? What do you do? And where should I be putting in resources, time, money, those kind of things? So again, if I go back to that apartment building, there's only a small percentage of them that might be ready right now. If you hit them with a postcard to apply now, you're going to fall on deaf ears for about 97 out of the 100 people because they're not ready to apply now yet. They're someplace else in their life cycle. And I've got a 6-year-old daughter, and this past fall, she came home with something that looked like this, and we had to color pictures of butterflies and chrysalises and all that. But every consumer that you talk to today, and this is going to get into what Jeff does with Stikkum, so I will bring it all back, but every client that you talk to, the next person that rings your phone is someplace inside of a life cycle. I'll share quickly. We all know the life cycle of a butterfly, but it's first an egg. It needs to make it to a caterpillar, so it has to make it out of that phase. It can't get eaten by something else, a lizard, rain, lots of things kill eggs, but it needs to become a caterpillar, then has to spend a certain amount of time as a caterpillar eating leaves and different stuff till it gets big enough to go into, when I was a kid, we called it cocoons. Now people are smarter and it's now a chrysalis phase. So It's now chrysalises, but it has to go to here. It then becomes a butterfly and emerges. And I don't know if you guys learned anything different, but the way I was taught, you can't go from an egg to a butterfly. It has to go through all of these cycles. And every single person is someplace in that cycle. And if I go to kind of home ownership, these are stats. Right now, as far as the people out there as a whole, about 60% of people fall into the I have no idea phase. They're just eggs lingering around on the bottom side of a milkweed thistle someplace, waiting to hatch. You run into these people. If you throw your apply now link at them, they're like, I'm not even a caterpillar. I can't do anything with your apply now link. I don't eat those. So then you've got caterpillars. These I like to think of as your clients that are someplace in that 6 to 18 month window. They're out there, they're nibbling on some stuff, but they're not ready to go and become. They're not ready to sprout wings yet. You've got the cocoons. These are in the 30 day to 6 month. These are people that probably are actively getting pre-approvals. They're out shopping online. They're having their credit pulled. They're doing different things. They're in the cocoon phase. And then ultimately at the end, you have butterfly phase. It's once they've hatched, it's about 3% of the population. So my question, just coming back to you initially, is I don't know what business you're in, but I've been doing this almost 30 years and realized a long time ago I was not in the mortgage business. The business I was actually in was the problem-solving business. People come to us with a litany of different things, and the better you are, the more solutions you have for them, the more options you can give them, and the more things you can do. And I have a belief that the farther I can get somebody up in here, the greater the chance that I will ultimately work with them and turn them into a butterfly. And one of the biggest problems from egg to butterfly is predation, a really large amount. So the eggs that are laid or the caterpillars, about 95% of them never make it to a butterfly. They get eaten by predators, just a bunch of different stuff happens. So again, your job as a loan officer, loan originator, whatever you call yourself, is to see to it that as many of your eggs make it full circle and become caterpillars. So you want to protect them from all the predators, right? The redfin in their email every day, the credit triggers before, all of these predators that came in to get your business. How do I keep them inside of my cocoon, right? I want to be the mother hen over top of all of my eggs. And all of your clients, one, is something really certain and simple. Every person you talk to wants one thing and one thing alone. Your agent partners, they want a little bit of certainty that it'll be fast, that it's going to be somewhat convenient, that they're going to get a good interest rate value. You're going to sell their house for a good amount of money. And then the certainty, if you can provide speed, convenience, and value, they're pretty certain that you're the right person to move forward with, and they will do business with you. And if you have a client that leaves you, it's for one of these three reasons. They think Rocket's going to do it faster. You're not as convenient as them. Maybe you can't answer as many phone calls or whatever, or that your rates are high. So if you hit on all three of these, people will do business with you. So holistically, this is kind of like just a mindset and a mentality that I like to head into things. And everything that I do, I try to make sure that it's extremely, it's extremely focused on where I'm trying to go, who am I representing, and what am I trying to do for that client. So I need to treat my eggs different than I need to treat my caterpillars, than I need to treat my next person. And so across the board, and I think Deven does a great job inside of the CRM, trying to point you in the right path. So if I get back here to Stikkum, what we're going to talk about, and if anybody has any questions about that, I kind of got through it in about the amount of time I wanted to leave things open. I know I went fast, but just by like a show of thumbs, does it make sense that every person you talk to falls someplace inside of a life cycle? And my question for you right now is, do you currently have something to meet somebody at each place? And whether you do or don't, it doesn't matter, but you need to make sure that inside of your business, if you really want to, and I work with loan officers that literally close something every other month. I have people that make well over 7 figures that I do one-on-one coaching with. So two people, one making 140 grand last month, the next person making 3 grand. What I found is that the person that makes like the $1 million loan officers seem to have consistently something for pretty much everybody that comes to them. They've got, they've got things that you can plug right into that doesn't require 90 hours of your time to do. So if you don't have something in each thing, that's okay. Identify the areas that you're lacking the most and just start filling those holes. And I like to use a monarch butterfly. This is a little interesting stat. Do you know they only feed on milkweed? So they literally have one. If you want monarch butterflies, you must provide them milkweed. And these things are kind of crazy because they migrate from like Canada all the way to like someplace down in Mexico every year. They like fly the whole country. And if for some reason the milkweed got taken out, we'd lose them. So you've got to meet your people where they're at with what they need. So I'm going to get here into Stikkum, and we'll bring Jeff in. But the reason that Jeff and I started talking, it's probably 6 months now or so ago, when we started using them at my wife's business. And the reason being is we started to see interest rates coming down. And a lot of my clients were out doing, credit monitoring and different stuff. And they had things that were being put in place on their clients. So you knew as rates dropped, you started to now have your clients get like somebody else was stealing them. They were eating my caterpillars. And we said, we need to do something. So I reached out to Jeff and we started to engage. We uploaded, 2,000-3,000 of our closed clients into his system. Was super simple. I gave him spreadsheets. He parsed it out like our Michigan closed clients, Ohio closed clients, all that stuff. And this was even before working with Deven. And we just started putting stuff in there. And I will show you, I've got just a quick little landing page here. And I'm going to bring Jeff in and talk also. But we engaged with Jeff initially just to get a way to monitor if our closed clients' credit was being pulled. It was that simple. And I'm going to pull up my little page. I've got a page, and we can kind of probably walk through it here with Jeff. But what it actually led to, and within 2 weeks of onboarding them, we closed clients. So we got 2 HELOCs almost right off the bat, instantaneously. Reached out to them. Hey, I don't know if this makes sense. I have no idea what you're even doing. This could be till, and we did it from a very curiosity driven, like, could be dead wrong. This is a weird AI thing. Maybe you had your credit pulled, maybe not. Am I barking up the wrong tree? No, we did have our credit pulled. What are you doing? And boom, we got 2 closings and probably made, $4 to $5 grand in revenue off of those 2 HELOCs. So I was like, I'm in the money on Stikkum forever now. But here's what it does, and I'll let Jeff kind of just give you the genesis of it on the back end. And again, we can go way into the weeds. I'll give you a link right here to get there. It's a nice little video. They work with a ton of people. But we have on our closed clients, we have credit monitoring set up. We have behavior monitoring set up. We recently got a deal because we got notified that a client had filed for divorce. We reached out, lo and behold, the husband had to refinance the house. They were at 2 point something. We got a refinance out of that only because Stikkum told us. So Jeff, if you want to just kind of jump in there. Yeah, and if Deven just put in a great note and we can get there, but the way we have it set up, how about this? Jeff, you tell them a little bit about Stikkum, how you got started, what it is, and kind of all the stuff that you do. I can slide on the screens if you want, but
yeah, I'm gonna actually share my screen, but I want you to bring back that one slide, John, two slides, that pyramid. That's a great segue, and then I'm going to segue quickly to that nice cycle of life, if you will, right? So John's 100% right. When you look at this, you end this very moment today in my time frame. It's 1:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This pyramid exists. Every one of your contacts and buyers, everybody in your prospect marketplace, they are positioned somewhere in this spectrum in regards to housing. Either at the bottom rung, it doesn't matter anything to them, but there are folks that are in the top rung right now that are sometimes your prospects, but many of your customers are actively moving forward with their transactions. The problem there is some of them, you don't even know that it's even happening. That's super scary, especially if you've got potentially an EPO risk going on. But that other pyramid also represents I look at the screen, the other one, John, that you had there. This is not just a cycle of life, but this is, you could call this the buyer's journey. From the egg is the instant there's a similar idea in their head that they might want to do something about housing. And then as they progress, as the caterpillar grows, they grow in their engagement in that process where they become aware of it. Now they're investigating it. Then they're going to collaborate and bring a team together. And ultimately, they're going to fill out an application and do something about that housing. This is a really cool graphic, John. Well, I like to always call it the buyer's journey. He starts with an idea. He ends up with a purchase, right?
And I think just to touch on that really quickly, for a lot of us, we don't know. We find out too late in the process. So, right, we're finding out at a payoff trigger because United Wholesale tells us that they received a payoff trigger, and the client's too far gone, or you've got now a battle to get in there and try and figure that out. So, for me, the sooner, I want to know when those eggs are being laid, and I think that's what Jeff's talking about. I want to know as soon as possible of when they're out there, they're doing anything. I want to be as deep in the weeds. I want to be in their phone.
Yeah, absolutely, John. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to my screen, but I'll continue to talk for the folks online with us now. So why does Stikkum even exist? You know, and what's the value that we were trying and we're aiming to bring to everybody in the community? Sound off, someone, if you can see my screen as it's starting to come up here. I'm actually going to be dialing in right into a live demo. Casey, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Okay, so why is Stikkum here? So as you mentioned, the journey, right? One, if I'm a loan officer, I do not want to get an EPO. Oh my goodness. And half the time I talk to customers that they're blind to the fact that somebody's already progressing that far that they are actually filling out applications with Rocket Mortgage, for instance, like this, and maybe they don't even see it and all, they just get this notification. They got some ramifications from an EPO perspective. I've got a lot of marketing that I want to spin, I want to send it out there, but I don't know who to send it to. So I spend a ton of money, go do a bunch of stuff, but I think it falls on deaf ears, just like John's pyramid he's talking about, right? We are all sellers, right? We're selling, and just John mentioned right at the beginning, we're bringing solutions to people that want to accomplish goals and solve problems. We're bringing bridges to those gaps so that folks can come across to the other side. That's what we do for a living, right? And that's what we built Stikkum to do, to say that there's inherent issues in that process that prevent us from bringing our solutions, because sometimes we're barking off the wrong trees. We don't see our customers when their time of need is. We don't see them soon enough. We don't see or understand the stage that they're in, so that we're misaligned with what I'm trying to give them at that point. We've developed Stikkum to say, you know what, we're going to go help Casey out. We're going to help John and Deven out with this situation through technology. How do we do that? Imagine Stikkum as a radar. Okay, we are monitoring all of your customers, all the contacts in our system, and we are looking for the specific behaviors that they are physically executing that gives us an indication that they're either thinking about doing something in mortgage, and like John is mentioning, start to actively research mortgages and housing, or actually physically doing it. So imagine in that whole circle of life John's mentioned right there, you can visually see when someone hits every single stage. Imagine if you can see when they actually are besieged, they're starting to become a caterpillar. Imagine if you can actually see something that's turning into a butterfly and, oh, by the way, about to be consumed by a competitor, but have enough time now because you can see that happening to intercept, execute, engage, and bring that customer back. We've developed technology in there so that now this is what Stikkum is. It is your platform, that's your radar. Every blip on that radar is an activity and action that your customer does. It's a credit pull that they do. Customers like this, that means this customer's already passed that whole ecosystem as a circle of life, and they're executing now. They're just not doing it with you. Luckily, you have enough time to get there, engage. Our purpose here is, man, if we can deliver something to our customers here that can help at least minimize, if not eliminate, the risk of an EPO, that could be fantastic. We had a customer of ours about 2 months back. First opportunity she had, she just, you know what, I want to just turn this on. And she came back, you know, we want to expand it to other services. But thank goodness, reactively, from a retention perspective, this saved me on an EPO. And I have a $1.7 million loan that I funded with this person. Jeff, I'm looking at approximately a $30,000 save from an EPO penalty perspective there. It's like, holy cow. How do I now get in front of this, right? And that's where it's saying, hey, from a retention perspective, Stikkum was built to say, you know what? Let's find out the customers out there that are going to leave. They might not want to, they're just conveniently taken away rock. We can find those customers. We can give you very definitive attributes about them that day. But the most important thing that we know and we're able to tell you is they are in the market doing something, executing something with mortgage, just not with you. So let's get together and get them to that. All right. Secondarily, though, what if you can prevent that credit pull by somebody altogether? What if you can prevent, like John mentioned, other folks coming into that ecosystem and gobbling up that little worm, the caterpillar, the butterfly? What if you can prevent that? How do you prevent that? You get there first. So when we're talking about this, well, how do I get this first? Well, we need to know when somebody's not about to leave. How about we know when they're just now getting in? And those various stages of having an idea that this is interesting, something happened in the news. Let me get into this. Let me find out more about this. Let me build my awareness about this. Let me execute things that maybe I'm going to go online and ask Google, is it a good time to refinance my mortgage today? Or maybe I'll go to my own bank homepage and go to the page about refinance, purchase, or whatnot. So we built Stikkum now to say, you know what? Let's not monitor just on saving a customer and just retaining those that are about to be lost. Let's now give our customers the opportunity to actually not just retain and in the world of retention, but how about prevention? How about we get our customers the knowledge of the behavior specifically being executed by their customers, so that if they have someone that is surfing the web, landing on refinance calculators online, asking Google all bunch of stuff about refinancing, that will trigger off an alert. And I can tell Casey about that, say, Casey, did you know that Noah out there just within the last day was surfing the web and done a lot of work on refinance? Casey now knows that, you know what? It's a web behavior alert. He's not yet taken an application, thank goodness, but you know what? He's looking for information. He is looking for knowledge. He's trying to gain advice. That's what I can sell him today. Because you know what? As John mentioned, this person might be 6 months down the road. That's okay. I need business 6 months down the road. The main thing I need to worry about right now is that I engage, I support. What I want to sell him today is knowledge, advice, direction, right? Supervision. Everything he's looking to do in his DIY method online, I now can support as that advisor for him along his way to the journey he's about to go on. So, yeah, John.
No, it's just a couple of things I wanted to add to that, right? So Tristan asked, is Stikkum a predictive analytics system? I think you're kind of answering that right there, in that there is some predictor stuff in here. Here's something else that, just to kind of bring it again, like full circle based on the group that's here. When we receive, so for our closed clients, like Jeff is showing here, general mortgage knowledge, HELOC, if they're out searching the web on particular things, it pulls in, we get an alert. And the way that we have our alerts set up right now is I get an alert, Deven grabs that webhook, puts it in my system. I get a notification on my phone. It's actually Deven's emailing me. It says, like, hey, you got an alert from Deven to me, which I probably would change. I don't like him in my inbox that much, but right, I get this notification that I got an alert that so-and-so was searching for a mortgage. We tag it now as Stikkum. So let's say maybe I want to do something different as far as my mailers or what I'm sending out. Or maybe if I get a lot of people doing the same thing, it's a new video that I do. You know, you don't have to do the videos Deven sends. You can do your own. Right? You can take your smart list and you can send out stuff. So we're getting tags and then putting them into specific campaigns based off of what they're doing. So again, it's not me with my abacus and my, and my notepad sending a reminder email. We're automating a lot of these things on the back end.
Yep. Hey, John, who's the one that asked that question?
That was Tristan.
Tristan. Okay, Tristan, thank you for that. Great question, because there's a lot of systems that happen out there. I want to kind of make this is an opportunity to say this is where Stikkum differs than what maybe a lot of folks would have gotten used to what a predictive analytics system is, okay? A lot of times, and I've been always in predictive analytics systems, there's a big algorithms behind this, and they're taking a lot of different data inputs, and a computer is giving and spitting out a certain percentage of prediction, saying that, Jeff, I would predict him at about a 67% chance of he might be interested in refinance because of something that's happening here. Maybe his credit score went up, maybe something, his neighborhood happens to be a lot of turnover over there. All those elements right there point to the fact that mathematically Jeff would have a good chance of doing something, or maybe I need some support. Good systems. They're there and they give some good predictive type of stuff. This is a behavior monitoring system. We target specific behaviors. There's no prediction about Joe's or whoever's it was right there on a refinance. I'm not predicting that he might be interested in refinance. I'm telling you, he's surfing the web and he's landing on refinance sites, putting in Google refinance search strings. That's what he's doing. That's where Stikkum differs. It's actually monitoring direct physical behaviors. Hard mortgage credit was pulled on your customer. A customer filed for divorce. Those are not predictions. That's exactly what just happened within less than 24 hours ago. Tristan, fantastic question. And from there, make your predictions about what the journey is going to be. We're telling you where he is right now at this moment, what he's doing at certain points, what topic he's doing it within, refinance versus HELOC versus this, right? Home shopping or home buyer, is he there? Those are the folks that are landing on and researching, spending time on Zillow, Realtor. They're shopping for homes, right? They're physically hitting those sites, not predictive, they're hitting those sites. And then now giving you that real-time type of live information to say, wow, okay, I know how to execute. This, my customer's executing, now I can execute, right?
Here's some things I'd add there. On these web monitoring things, here's what I would say. Somebody that uses it and, right, there's a lot of predictive models. I would say when we reach out to clients that do this, if we get an alert that says they're out shopping for a home, just being honest, about 50% of the time we reach out and say, hey, Sue, I have no idea. We've got this fandangled thing. And I always do it from a standpoint of like curiosity. I have no idea if you're actually doing this. We got this fandangled thing we're using on the back end where it tells us if you're out shopping for a home. Have you been looking? Like, you doing anything? Like your husband doing something you don't know about? And they laugh. And I'd say about 50% of the time it's right. 50% of the time the person has no idea. But it could also just be right. They're surfing on Facebook, they saw a house, they clicked on it, don't even remember doing it. So I would say on these behavior alerts, it's about 50% of the time. Here's what, again, I don't try not to bore anybody, but the way Stikkum works is you pay a very flat monthly fee. And I don't know if the fee is any different. Like if you follow the link, it's, I think, $27, $30, somewhere between 27 and 30 if you pay for the whole year to have just the system in place. Every time you have a credit pull, I believe, and Jeff, right? Like I pay the bill, I see it. I think it's $11 for a credit pull.
Yep.
95 cents every time you get a home buyer alert. And we have ours set up. So if I get an alert that somebody's like out surfing, we get the alert. I don't pay again for 45 days. So it just mutes it for 45 days. So it costs me $1 to know you're out Googling, you know, Zillow and whatever you're doing. And then on like the divorce things and that, $2.95. Am I close?
You're on there, John. Yep.
Public records. So it's kind of a la carte. You can turn on what you want, turn off what you want, and you're not like locked into a system where you're paying, you know, X number of $100 a month. You pick and choose. Maybe on your California closed clients, you want more because you make more money on it. Alabama, you're going to let those people go because you do not like the Crimson Tide one bit. And you're going to pick and choose what you want to do based on your business.
Yep.
And it works pretty well. A couple other just tidbits here. Jeff's team does a great job. If something's not easy to do, right? I went to that slide before I talked about certainty. You want to know that it's fast, easy, and a decent value. If we can hit on those three things, it might make sense to do this. Jeff's team takes all of your databases and actually did a ton of stuff cleaning mine up to get them in there. Secondly, he and Deven can talk back and forth. So as you close a client in Arrive, Again, I'm not the API wizard, but if you close it in Arrive, Lending Pad, any of those, your closed client can automatically get moved over there. Again, speed, easy, convenient. It just happens and then goes into your triggers and off you go. And as you drop them in there, you can put them into whatever cadence you would want inside of that system. So again, I think for me, this is kind of a no-brainer in that it only costs $27 a month. And then I can turn on and I only pay. Like I only pay when I get the credit alert. Like that never hurts me. I spend way more than that on Facebook ads to get a click of, some 14-year-old that's trying to, like, who knows what you're going to get. Craziness.
You're absolutely right. So we built the system to be really flexible. As John was mentioning, I was kind of showing just some good examples. If you can take your database and carve it up and compartmentalize as way you wish and want to, you can turn on alerts that you might feel appropriate for one different population versus the next. You have full control of all of that. As John mentioned, turn them on and turn it off. We didn't want to kind of say, you must buy the bundle. You must be in one box. Everybody's current customer base and the way they go to business is totally different. So we have the ultimate flexibility in that. And then again, last but not least, integration is, so you imagine now if the behavior intelligence of exactly that radar is hitting, blipping away, sending this information to you, which by the way, we deliver those alerts directly to you via email, on your text. But then also if you've got great systems already in place, like Go High Level and everything else like that, we are going to be directly integrated into that system so that if you get somebody that's monitoring or looking at the web on a refinance stuff, that is a real life scenario that would come to Stikkum. Of course, Sean, Duncan, give you that notification that's there, but on yourself also happening automatically. It's telling your Go High Level system, telling your Hova system right there to say, hey, kick off refi campaign number 5. Because it came from Stikkum, it's my past client, it's a refinance. These are all identifiers and it just happened. Kick it off now and go. So the point of saying, all right, now I'm not blind. I can see my entire ecosystem, not just see it, but I can see all the people that are relevant to be seen today, not 18 months from now, today. And then I can see what stage they're in. I can see what they're doing and what they want in each stage. Imagine now I pair that with my CRM and says, great, I got all my messaging ready to go. I'm just waiting for Stikkum to tell you guys to go, go, go. You go here, you go here, you go here, you go here. Fully automatically.
Hey, Jeff, we got a couple of questions. Sean, I completely apologize. I saw the green thing there. I'm old. I'm closer to 100 than I am to 0. I saw it. I just thought you had like a funny name. Like somehow or another, was able to turn his name green. How do I do that? So Sean actually has a question, and we had something else. So Sean has a question, and something was asked a little while ago also about if somebody pre-screens opts out, and I know like we can get way in the weeds. So Jeff, we're going to go fast on this.
Yep.
That's my commitment. Jeff is going to go fast, but pre-screen opt out. And then also how do the trigger laws if in 30 seconds. I know I've got the whole answer that takes, watch the podcast. He goes into this for about 10 minutes. But we're going to go fast here with those answers.
Opt-out pre-screen process. That hits at the source, that hits at the bureau level. We're integrated with the credit bureaus, and that cancels it out like a do-not-call list for everybody. Therefore, they won't be found on any credit pull that we're having or anybody else that monitors that. Okay? So if you have a situation like that, that's great, wonderful. Monitor ahead of that before they become a credit pull by somebody else, right? The credit trigger lead law. Okay, perfect. So here's what loan officers need to know. You can still get them. That law is meant to flush out anybody that's doing cold marketing, buy a blind list of a bunch of people, and now tell me when their credit's being pulled. I have zero relationship. That's who is going to attack and eliminate right off the head. And that's going to be the big population of the spammers out there. But you loan officers have an EPO that hangs over your head. Yes? Yes, you do. So you're eligible. That's why the carve out is loan officers, lenders, brokers who are the originators of the loan, who have the relationship of that customer, you're in. Credit unions and banks, you're in. Servicers, you're in. And of course, opt-in, you're in. That's the 4. That's the 4. Okay. We've always been on the customer retention side of things. So it was like, oh, how's it going to affect you? Well, guys, if We have never sold it to spammers out there. We've just been on customer retention, making sure that if this customer is in that top little pyramid doing something with it, that Sean himself has the opportunity and the tools and technology to protect his butt from that EPO. He deserves to do so. And that's why, Sean, you're still good to go on this. Hope that makes sense. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I can just attest to the fact I just had an EPO. And nothing I could have done about it. They lost their job after we closed, but they do hurt. They're pretty painful.
Yeah. You know, it's just a financial hit to it, but you know, you think about it. One, you feel for the person, and two, it's like, wow, I did all that time, effort, work. It's that impactful. And then when it's blind for customers like Jeff, I can deal with it. Like you mentioned, Sean, that, hey, that there's certain senses in that person's life, but at least you knew about it. It's the blindside ones that my customer tells me, like, man, it takes a while to get over those things.
And I have just, again, we're at 145. I feel like we're covering a lot. One other thing that I want to just kind of point out, if you pull, so sometimes people are like, well, I'm going to be paying for my own credit pulls. There's a way. So inside of the system, if you pull your own, like, you can go in and flag it beforehand that you pulled your own credit report. And so you're not going to pay for a trigger on your own. So it's super simple. We have our admin do it. So our admin goes in and most of the time, our admin goes in and flags it as self-pull. So we're not hitting ourselves for that. So there's a way to go in. And then secondly, if in the event that you miss, like, let's say you just mess up and like, oh crap, you get the alert, you're like, I don't want to pay the $11. Stikkum has been fantastic on going in, you email support, hey, this was a self-pull, sorry. And you know what? We removed the fee. So again, another concern, right? We all are cognizant of where we're spending our money. What's the ROI? Am I wasting money? You just know here, right? I mean, it should only be, hopefully you never get one. You pay the $27 and never get one, but you have clients that do weird things. So it's good to have something like this in place.
Tristan has a great question out there. You know, I think, Kristen, you mentioned it, you know, is Stikkum really one that only operates within that EPO window? Actually, no, Tristan. You know, I'm showing here that, you know, you can watch the EPOs if you load in that actual EPO date and everything else, but this is just added. The whole thing, Tristan, is on a customer retention perspective. So talk about stick and a carrot. The stick is, okay, during certain points of that life cycle of that loan, you've got some risk, some monetary risk, some big hard risk called an EPO, but the action's still the same. That means that customers having their credit being pulled, we're talking about the credit pull, by somebody else, right? It just happens between that certain window that's going to have a negative impact if you don't get a hold of that. But beyond that, the carrot is the customer is having their credit being pulled because they're interested in doing a mortgage transaction right now with somebody else. That means that is new business with that same customer. That's additional, ongoing, second, third, fourth transaction business that should be yours. You work so hard to get that customer the first time around. God forbid we let anybody take them away from it. So no, turn on. We do not charge for monitoring. As John mentioned before, there is no charge for monitoring. You can have as many contacts in the system as you want. They're all flipped on, switched, turned on, all being monitored 24/7, unless we deliver an alert from a transaction billing, you are not billed at all. So we definitely do not want to have an EPO, but we want every piece of ongoing additional business from those customers going forward and building and growing that relationship. So Tristan, yes, new business, refinancing those houses, their second homes, whatever it is, that's what the system's built to do. If they're have someone else taking your customer, we want to find out and make sure you know about it so you could intercept and get in there and keep them as your customer. And then of course the other services are, hey, how about you get in ahead of the time before that competitor even gets involved? That's even better. So therefore now when that credit's pulled, it's you, Tristan. You're the one pulling credit.
And I think Tristan was asking, like, are we limited in our ability to monitor only through our EPO phase? And I think that the answer there, right? So it's not like, is the carve out, does it continue past there?
Yes, you can. I've got a customer that does that, right? So as I mentioned, you've got several different databases here, but you know, I've got a customer right here that says a database that's going to be called EPO database. And what she does is, and John mentioned right there, every time she closes a loan and Arrive or lending pen and forgot what LOS you have there, that has automatically gets populated into this EPO database right there. In that EPO database, let me just go right here and just do it real quick. She actually says, you know what? I want to go ahead and also, I want to monitor that EPO database, right? So then when that EPO database is now monitored, that means, yes, I'm monitoring the credit during that EPO database. Now, when that EPO turns off, she can come over here and take any one of those contacts and transfer that person to a different database on the fly.
Yeah, lots of ways to get, we can get as far in the weeds as you would like here.
Yep.
I think that, Tristan, just your thing, right? Like if I put on my compliance hat, maybe some company might say, hey, we don't want to be into monitoring them 18 months out. Like that's by each person. I've read the credit trigger thing. I think that you probably, like, you would have some plausible deniability to say like, hey, I thought that it meant because they were my close client, I could monitor them forever. Again, talk to your like your person there. But so this across the board, and I just, Jeff, if you can stop sharing,
Yep.
I don't know if I can share over top of you. A couple of things on Stikkum. And
Sorry, really quick, just because we're running low on time. I just want to say this super fast, and I'll give you the rest of the time. I'll be really, really fast. If I have to go for a call for 10 minutes, so you guys are welcome to stay on with Stikkum and John. Just a quick reminder, because I got some questions. First and third Thursday of every month is CRM basics. Second Thursday, I'm having a guest on and a provider. Fourth Thursday is marketing strategies. And then, John, I'll let you take it from there. I just keep getting asked that question because some people are like, why aren't we doing training on CRM? So that's why. Second Thursday is mortgage expert plus platform, if you have any questions on that. Okay, go ahead, John. Sorry.
yeah, all that. So a couple of things I just wanted to, I completely lost track of what I was going to say. Well, I'm sharing a screen. So here's this. If inside of there, like Jeff said, right here is, I included a link in the thing as to where you can go to check out Stikkum. If you follow that link, the way that Stikkum works, right? I'll actually show you. It's this right here. So if you follow this link, I'll put it in the chat. There's an onboarding fee. So you pay a subscription fee per month. There's an onboarding fee. If you follow this link, the fee is normally $150. I think if you go back through this link, it's cut in half. It's $75 to get all of your stuff loaded in. You save a little bit of money if you follow the link, or you can just go to Stikkum straight. So there's that piece. They do a great job. It's super easy to onboard. Like I said, actually use it myself, have it set up with Hova. It works. So across the board there. Something else that I wanted to just kind of cover, because people had a lot of questions about this last week, is we're not valuable because we say we are. Right? So as a loan officer, you're not valuable because you say you are. You're valuable when your partners say that you are. So something else that I've got some people doing is did you know you can take your real estate agents, close clients, and you can do monitoring on there for shopping and those kind of things as well. So you could reach out to your agents and say, if you want me to monitor your close clients, like I can do it. I just need their name, address, and a couple of things. And I can go in there and monitor if they're like shopping online or filing for a divorce. You like divorces, right? And your agents will say yes. You can put them into a separate database inside of Stikkum and then add value to your agent partners. Again, because you're not valuable because you say you are, you're valuable when they say you are. And then just another thing, this came up in training last week. This is something that we built out. This is inside of Hova. This is a page inside of Hova. This is my wife. This is one of her realtor partners. And Deven has a page that's maybe close to this. I don't know if he's been stealing, like I have no idea. But you can get this inside of Hova. And what we've found with our agent partners is so this particular girl, if you're familiar with what FinLocker is, we, through our coaching community, have our own version of FinLocker. And so what we do with all of our agent partners is we give them a co-branded link. So you can see there's her co-branded link, all going back to here. We also have these mortgage calculators where we provide all of our agents a co-branded mortgage calculator with them. So our agents have a co-branded mortgage calculator. So there's my wife, there's the gal, co-branded. They want to do a buy down, DSCR, net proceeds, whatever, right? All that stuff's there. They want to email it to themselves. All these things, anywhere they click, it's capturing it as a lead for us. So a lot of lead gen there. And then also, if we want to go and apply online, we have a shared apply online link. Again, if any of those things that they click, so if they click this and fill it out, becomes a lead inside of Hova. New lead, FinLocker, Fin Toolbox. If they click on our calculator and they email it to somebody, new lead inside of there, came from the calculator. If they apply online, boom, there it's into Lending Pad, into Hova, new lead. So everything that we do inside of here is capturing the lead on one page. The agent doesn't have to remember to share their Fin Toolbox app. They just share this one page. They don't have to remember to share their calculator. Again, you're not valuable because you say you are. You're valuable when they say you are. And here's what we've been finding with agents. She actually went as far. She does about 75 sales a year. So it's like she's a pretty decent agent. She actually, on her website, we put the page on her website for her too. So this is something that Deven has the ability to do. I think that Deven will go, like, I don't know. He's got, like, we built this ourselves inside of Hova, but we just piggybacked onto a bunch of Deven's automations. This is not hard to do. I help people get virtual assistants as well, where they like go in and buy them instead of like paying for somebody part-time. You can actually buy a virtual assistant, like buy a pack of hours, buy 100 hours with a virtual assistant, maybe use them over the course of 3 months, and they can build these pages out for you. But this is something that people had a lot of questions about last week, and Deven asked if I would talk about it here. And so I wanted to share this with you, in that if you do have agent partners, having something like this that you can put in place, make it so simple for them to send business to you that they don't want to send it anywhere else.
Yep. John, let me compliment that, because you mentioned it earlier. This is actually, some folks might say, well, why did you even develop some of those services like Newly Engaged? And by the way, what's upcoming is also soon to have a baby and just had a baby and stuff like that, those different life event things. You know, the home shopping thing, so they're shopping around Zillow and they're landing on Realtor and True. You know, it's not really mortgage-centric as housing, but I get it. But why did you do that? Those were put in place in collaboration with our customers for the sheer purpose, first and foremost, is to recruit networking referral partners, so that you have a tool in your hands that you can go to a realtor community and say, guys, who'd like to work with me? I have a way to generate your leads. You can pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for form fills off of Zillow, or I can monitor your customer base and tell you when those folks are actually sniffing around and surfing those sites before they fill out the forms. And maybe if they do fill out a form, hope it goes to you, but maybe it doesn't. How about if you know if they're on there, period, all of them? Let's co-market to them. The other ones in the life event thing, same premise, but different populations, because we had several customers said, you know what, I think I want to do the realtors, but I also want to find a way to get in front of insurance people, CPAs, financial planners, financial advisors, that financial services community. You, Jeff, what can we monitor that would be a direct impact to their business? Think about it. Single Jeff gets married, the insurance guy says, whoa, you better get some term life insurance. Time for me to sell you again. All of a sudden you have a baby. Folks almost sudden want to say, you know what, I need to get engaged with Jeff now because we should start planning with the 529. Those became the triggers, if you want to call it that, the direct behaviors that all of those lead referral partners are looking for. So we developed those and said, you know what, loan officer, let us help you build out your networks. Go grab them, or who you want to work with, and say, you know what, let's monitor them. Use my system. I can monitor your customers. I can actually share those leads and alerts with you, and we can co-market it together. So John brings a great point. It's not just direct selling stuff, but these are all technologies, like John was showing with this page right there, to really enhance your ecosystem to the marketplace.
Yeah, you guys can tell Jeff sells Stikkum. So if you talk to Jeff, if it's not about Stikkum, you're not going to hear about it. It's, you know, everything. He's at dinner with his kids. He's telling them about Stikkum, how like somebody looked at the menu and they have good chicken wings here because he got an alert about chicken wings. So Jeff is selling Stikkum. If you guys weren't, if you had any questions, what Jeff's doing, selling Stikkum. But I like it. I'm picking on them. I think that it makes it more fun. So just a couple of things as we wrap up here. I want to be cognizant of time, right? We only have 1,440 minutes. Right here is a link. If you want to get in the mortgage broker builder community, that's where I do posts like this every single day, different things about different stuff. Jump in there. It's free. Join if you want. If not, good luck. My people will be crushing you, selling around you. Thing number 2, I included a link in here a couple of times. There is a podcast where Jeff and I do on CEO 1440. You can go in there. The link's in there. You can get with Deven, and Deven will help you with all this stuff. But right now, I believe we as individuals have an opportunity. It's going to be very hard to compete against the behemoths, the Rockets, those kind of things from a pure just automation tech point. But you can be more personal. You can sell something that they can't. That's you as the individual loan officer taking care of your individual clients in a better way. And you lean into that. I think that 2026 and beyond will be awesome. So I just want to say, and I've got a couple of minutes too, I can stick. I know Devin's got to jump, but Hova's awesome. Jeff's awesome. Join my group. And if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to stick here for a few minutes.